It's always slowed down. I don't know. I don't know what Zencaster's doing half the time. This podcast brought to you by Zencastr.
Zencaster.
If anyone does it right, it's them. They never throw your audio out of sync. There's never a lot of latency or anything, so...
I feel like you're being sarcastic, but I can't tell because you're always
it's
being
me.
sarcastic.
Yeah.
So I was talking about you to somebody yesterday that you were trolling, and they hit me up, and I was like, I just said, Adam, ? And they were like, God damn it. I was like, yeah.
Check your source.
Yeah. Adam's going to call me one day. He'd be like, bro, I'm bleeding. I need some help. I'll be like, dude, I got shit to do, man. I'll talk to you later, you know. No, bro, I'm bleeding. I'm a click.
That's happened before. Like I'm trying to be serious, and no one believes me because I
fucking
just
constantly.
I'm like, hey, by the way, yeah.
Well, you don't cry wolf. To be fair, you cry bullshit.
And he'll laugh, dude. He gets these big old red cheeks, right? When he's being serious, and he'll be talking, but he knows that whatever he's saying sounds like bullshit.
Yeah.
And he'll start laughing, and I'm like, he's like, no, listen, no, dude, look. I'm being serious. I swear I'm being serious. And I will say that if he says that, he's usually being serious, right? He doesn't. At least he's still got that disclaimer he can plug in, and I will believe him momentarily. But it's hard because he'll just start laughing as he's trying to tell you. So he's like, hey, so you know how that thing? And I'm like, no, Adam, no, seriously, listen.
No, for real.
So I don't know what to talk about today. That's what I'm talking
We have the first female president right now, so I want to point that out, and I'm popping a cold one as we speak.
She's not really the president, though.
Throw it up to the thickest president we've ever had. Let's go.
The thickest president. Yo, the prez is thick, bro.
She got that presidential ass. I'm ready.
Jesus Christ.
I'd hit it. I'm just saying.
I'm trying to get into the West Wing just to hit that, you know? But anyway, I've got this cold one right here. I'm going to throw it back.
I'm trying to get up in the West Wing, if you know what I mean.
You keeping it 55th Street?
I'm keeping it 55th Street.
I feel like this is going to be the podcast that finally gets the FBI to just come to our house. We were watching.
For the record, he's not threatening the current president. He would like to engage in sexual congress, apparently.
There's no damage I could do with this thing anyway. Like, there's no way.
Trust me, this is not a lethal weapon. I'm just saying. There are airsoft guns that could do more damage than this thing. Pew, 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 pew. Hey, girl, you want to see my pew pew? These ain't freedom seeds.
Jesus Christ.
So my go-to line is like, you want to see a really big dick? And then they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I unzip my pants.
Whip yours out.
Yeah.
There was a study done.
You could have the worst pickup line in the world. Since you do have a vasectomy, you could say something like, unlike Alec Baldwin, I actually do fire blanks.
Damn, that was funny, though. So for the record, like, I'm kind of torn right now. Like, I want to laugh. But
you could use it.
You're going to hell.
I'm just saying, like, it's bad, but you could probably use it.
It's bad, but you could probably use it. Yo, baby, you're safe with me because, unlike Alec Baldwin, I really do shoot blanks. Yep, I am going to use that at some point.
I think you will. Like, I can see you saying it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
enjoy.
Exactly.
It's your own Doug Arnold original.
DA original.
You
So
have my full and complete permission to use that, sir.
This is Creative Commons. You just gotta tell them that it's Doug's. You gotta give them credit.
After I say it, I gotta go copyright Doug Arnold 2021. So there was a study done.
It's like, I'll just take a percentage of that ass. How's that?
Hey, that's a good idea, right? They're like, hey, they're like, look, I got to give Doug 8% of your ass when we're done. So 92% of it belongs to me, but you got to just rub it up against him. That's all. Just
So
rub
you
it up
have
against
to.
him.
You have. Okay, that's all right. Never mind. What I was gonna say wasn't gonna land, so never mind.
Oh yeah, because everything
That's never
on this
stopped you before.
I was gonna say, because everything on this podcast and that comes out of your mouth.
I was gonna say you got to get 92% done, and then bring Doug in, tag him in.
Right?
It sounds awful. That sounds terrible.
Like, oh, I'm gonna. Oh, wait a minute, Doug, your turn. Get in here, bud.
I'll hold the camera. Undo my belt.
All right. So there was a study done.
Anyway, the other day.
I know you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that. This goes back to your big penis comment. If you want to see a big penis, they did a study, and most women said that for like a partner, like somebody they were going to be with for a long time, that they wanted a smaller penis or average penis, right? That they only wanted these giant cocks for like one night stands and shit, you know? And I think dudes are kind of the same, right? We see chicks with these ridiculous body sizes, proportions, whatever. And we want to hit it, but it's like, well, I don't know. Guys are dumb. We're dumb.
Yeah, they would just marry it, really.
Yeah, that's what I was. As it was coming out, I was like, man, we're dumb.
With the classic stuff, which I'm not saying this is accurate or not, but women would marry a man thinking they could change them, and men marry a woman so they can lock that shit in. They want the status quo to continue.
I heard something. It was a psychologist quote. He said, women control sex, men control marriage. And that kind
I disagree with that shit.
I don't, because no. Let me I see where you're going, what you're thinking. Negative. It's like this. If you want sex, the woman has to agree to it, right? Men are out looking for it, women control it.
Men are always a default yes.
Right, but right, yeah, exactly. But when it comes to marriage,
at least that's how they're portrayed.
Right. Women want marriage, but who has to initiate that? Who has to agree to it? Men. So that's what he meant by control, not that men are controlling.
Like they provide the marriage and then the woman provides the sex.
Sex, right. Yeah. And again, it was I took that out of context. So I understand where Doug's head went with that one. But I agree with it because it's true, right? Men are always out trying to get sex. The woman has to agree to it. Women want marriage. The guy has to agree to it.
They're like the gatekeepers to sex, and then we're the gatekeepers to marriage.
To marriage, basically, right. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. And like I said, I do agree with that. And I think that, like Doug said, right, a man, when we decide we want to lock that shit in, we're like, marry me. And they're like, oh my God, yay. It's like, yeah, just wait.
This doesn't get any better. It only gets worse
exactly.
I can fix him. No, it's going the other way, lady.
But my favorite. Go ahead, Dan. I mean, Dan or somebody.
Dan Adam. I was just going to say, Doug and I have had this conversation too, that they say that the thing that you like the most about someone when you first start dating them oftentimes becomes the thing that annoys you most down the line. And I think that's true too in my own personal experience.
Unless that thing is aggressive blowjobs,
Well,
I wanted to see how long the silence would go.
The dead silence would last? Yeah, me too. I was waiting. Just for the awkwardness of it. Yeah, I don't think that I don't think I'd ever get sick of blowjobs.
Is it like, what's an example if that's not too personal?
Um, I dated a woman that was kind of, I don't want to, not masculine, but didn't do normal chick stuff. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
And in the beginning, that was cool because um, they just kind of wanted to do the same things I wanted to do, whatever. But then over time, it did get annoying because it was just like, Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm dating a dude, like because the same things that made them like that um, created issues like um, sort of a lack of empathy and things like that, like guys are. And so after a few months, I started to realize, oh wow, this isn't going to work. You know, um, I've had buddies that have told me stories about like a woman that was like kind of cute and indecisive. Like when they first started dating, he's like, "Oh, she's so cute. She just, and I make all the decisions, whatever." And then years later, they're married with kids, and it's like this bitch cannot fucking decide anything at any time, And I'm like, but you know, that's what you thought was cute about her about 6 years ago, you know? So, um, like I said, I've had it happen to me and I've seen it happen to other people. And I think it is true, but, um, and I don't know why that is. I think it's an interesting dynamic. I'd like to understand more about it, but I can barely understand myself half the fucking time, let alone the entire like dating, whatever.
Yeah, I like witty women who can like talk shit. So yeah, that usually bites me in the ass too.
Right? You turn around and you're like, God damn it,
I'm like, no, fuck you.
And I'm the same way. I like women who are funny and can keep up with me in that arena. Um, and you're right. Sometimes it's like, oh, wow,
It's like, stop saying true things about me, bitch.
she
Like,
got me right. Exactly. you know, um, but I'd rather have that than. Um, I mean, I know guys that and women, honestly, that they like that status quo, that dynamic of the man's in control of everything, and the woman just does whatever he says all the time. And I feel like
it's
that
so
would get.
weird.
I think that would get boring. I really do. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
just might
saying
as well
oh.
date yourself.
I mean, I,
I
I
mean, it's
already
kind
fuck
of that.
myself constantly, so I mean, why not? I might as well date myself too.
I mean, it's kind of that that classic caveman appeal, and
Yeah,
which may be appealing on a certain biological level,
yeah,
but unless you're a really special person, or I should say, a really special person with female tendencies. There we go.
right.
I don't know how you would survive that long term.
And again, I think it depends. Like very recently, it's been brought to my attention that I actually prefer submissive women, um, but not to the point of they're going to do everything I tell them to do all the time. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. But I'm a control freak, and I like to be in control, and I like to make decisions. I have no issues with a woman saying, "Well, that's cool, Dan, but did you think about this?" But I always wind up with women with very strong personalities that are very much not submissive, and it doesn't work out. And there are plenty of submissive women out there that are fine and fucking healthy, and they want someone else to make the decisions, and I'm good with that. I'm okay with it. Like I said, that's just something that's been brought to my attention recently. Um,
We've had that discussion before about there are people or men that have to make decisions about shit all day long. They may be a CEO, they may
mhm.
be a lawyer, they may be a judge or whatever else, and the last thing they want to do when they come home is make a decision. So as soon as they walk in the fucking front door, they're not in charge of shit. Their opinion means dick, and some of them really get off on that and
Mhm.
then want
Hell
their ass
yeah.
beat and yada
Hell
yada yada.
yeah.
Yeah, I've known some subs and doms, and people can think what they want about it, but I'll tell you, man, there's some folks out there that it's very healthy for them, and they're okay because of it. And I ain't here to I ain't here to fucking shit on anybody's kink, like, or
But what if their
personality or
kink is
whatever.
getting shit on?
Even if their kink is getting shit on, if that's what you're into, like I'm not, but whatever, man, you know. But like
If
Doug
it
said, hmm?
if it makes you a more pleasant person to deal with after you've engaged in that particular activity, knock
Yes, sir.
yourself out. Leave
That's
fucking bruises. I don't care.
that's what
Hell
I've always
yeah.
said. That's what I've always said. As long as you're not, well, I'm going to say as long as you're not hurting anyone, if they don't want to be hurt, because they
Yeah,
want a
two
good
consenting
spanking.
adults can do whatever they want.
That's exactly how I feel about it. And for people to say, "Oh, that's creepy, that's weird," whatever.
That's why I'm not doing it to you.
Right,
'Cause you
right.
don't
I
want it
like
done.
that exactly. Next time I'm talking, somebody says, "Oh, that's fucking creepy." Well, I'm not going to spank you, so you've got nothing to worry about. You know. Um, and then vice versa, you get some people that don't have the ability to exercise their will in the grand scheme of the world, and they like spanking people. Whatever. Yeah, it's like I said, it's an interesting dynamic, and I've never been one to kink shame people or whatever. Just as long as it's not fucking kids, man. Leave fucking kids alone. Let kids be fucking kids, um, or whatever. So, yeah,
I would agree.
yeah, we all agree. So,
Good. All right. So next week on the podcast,
right,
we'll be talking about.
we just come into 15 minutes of agreeing with each other, and yes, of course, yes.
Yes, indeed. Well, I
Yes,
don't know
yes,
anyone
indeed,
that's going to
indeed.
disagree with you on leaving kids alone.
There's a whole group called NAMBLA that would probably disagree with me.
Well,
So,
we had an Amber Alert out this week, and I did watch the news this morning. It was an Amber Alert on a 11-year-old girl.
uh huh,
They found her today
uh
with a 30-year-old guy,
huh. I didn't
and
read that part.
apparently they connected through Craigslist, and the way they were found will tell you that this wasn't necessarily one of those creepy guys that runs around in the van, found somebody, snatched them in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently, how they found her is this particular 11-year-old girl had a conversation with a contractor and saying that children volunteer things that if they're trying to lie, they're just not good at it yet.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she was trying to tell this contractor that she was 23 years old and she was there with her boyfriend and they were having lots of sex and something
What the
else.
fuck?
And it's coming out of this 11-year-old girl's mouth.
Yeah.
So,
And she
contractor
looked
dude called,
like a
there's
kid.
not many 11-year-olds that look 23. Are there 13, 14-year-olds that look 23? Yes. And it
Yeah.
would shock the fuck out of you. But, 11, usually not. So, yeah.
Yeah, she looked 11 or 12. I mean, I when they did the pictures in the Amber Alert, excuse me, I knew that I knew they found her, but I did not know that she was with this 30-year-old.
What the fuck? I never pay attention to the Amber Alerts because usually it's some kind of domestic custody thing, and I'm just like, fuck it. But
Yeah, nobody's
holy
really getting
shit.
hurt. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, I was like, Doug, that one kind of caught my attention because there wasn't any information about like a parent or anything. It just said, she's missing. And I looked at the picture. I said, okay. Tried to remember it well enough that if I ran across her on the street that I'd recognize her, probably wouldn't. This shit happens, I've known people that have had similar situations in their families with this kind of shit. And the thing is, now with the internet, it's these fucking pedophiles don't have to drive around in a van anymore. They get on.
How the fuck?
online.
How do you find an 11-year-old on Craigslist? That's my question. Like, how is there a child using Craigslist?
I mean,
Well,
I definitely,
dude, it's not like it
yeah.
requires an identification username and a fucking password.
No, but
No,
what
but-
child is using Craigslist?
Well,
Like,
and
I don't know.
like Facebook, TikTok, social media in general, I could see where they might meet up. I mean, I've made friends on social media that I never met in my life. We just hit it off on social media, and some of them I've met after that. You know, they were all consenting adults, I might add. But just want to point that
that's
out real
relevant
quick.
during this conversation.
It really is. Yeah, I just want to make sure people understand that. But yeah, Craigslist is weird. Like what I'd be curious to know who posted what and how, right? Like how an 11-year-old.
like, hello, yes, I'm interested in this 1973 Camaro.
Right, exactly. And the next thing you know, you got pedophilia. Boom, pedophilia.
Well, they didn't have all the details this morning,
Right.
but I'm sure that will
Right.
come out in court.
Yeah.
No shit. Right?
I'm just curious, like, I'm just wondering out loud, I guess, how that came to be. But, I mean, surely there's some way because he was doing it, right?
Right, and it happened. I just, like Doug said, there was recently in one of the groups that I'm in on Facebook, they had to oust some folks because there was this 16-year-old girl that had been posing as, like a 23-year-old and apparently had engaged in sex with some guys. And then they found out she's 16. And again, to Doug's point, there are some 16, 17-year-old girls out there that I've even been like, huh. And then somebody's like, she's 16. I'm like,
Yeah.
Like, ew,
Well,
ew, 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 ew.
It's like you can you can work magic with the right ladies have been doing this shit for years as far
Right.
as they can work
Makeup.
magic with the right makeup and hair.
Absolutely.
All I'm saying is not your average 16-year-old
No.
girl, but
No.
your more well-developed 16-year-old girl
Right.
who has the right makeup, the right outfit, the right
Mhm.
hair.
Mhm.
Yeah, she could pass herself off as 23.
Yep.
Maybe not to, another 18 or 19-year-old, because it seems like, the older I get, the less good I get at judging ages.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because,
especially in that range, they all look
Right.
like kids to me. Anyone under like 30, I'll say, oh yeah, the kid behind the counter. And it's like, Dan, she's 24 years old. I'm like, yeah, she's a kid.
Yeah, kid.
I'm old, But I saw a picture of the girl, and even knowing she was 16, because I heard the story first, and then someone pointed her out, I was like, huh, yeah, I could see that. Especially if she's hanging out in places where people are drinking and shit like that. You just don't think about it.
No.
And it's the old joke of, ID at the belt. But again, if I was out, had a couple drinks, and this chick came up to me, I wouldn't think she was 6. I wouldn't have thought she was 16, and that's scary as hell to me because I am not a pedophile. I ain't trying to be a pedophile, etc. and so on.
She's like, hang on, I'll be right back. And then Chris Hansen walks out. God damn it.
Right? Not again. What? Nothing. But 11, like,
Yeah, there's no
gross.
way, dude.
Gross,
There's no
dude.
way.
Right. You knew a 16, 17-year-old girl. You could say, yeah, she told me she was 19. I mean, I'm 46 years old. I shouldn't be fucking 19-year-olds anyway. But you can say, hey, fuck off. It's legal. Whatever. Is it, moral? Meh, that's questionable. But it's legal. So fuck off. But an 11-year-old?
As long as they're both consenting, I don't care.
Right. Exactly. I'm like, whatever. There was a
But
TikTok.
I don't
Go
want to
ahead.
hear either one of them bitch about it. You know
Right?
what I mean? Because
I was 19 and he was 45 and he fucked with my head. You're dating a 45-year-old man who fucks 19-year-olds. The fuck did you think?
I had a roommate that was my age, like 25, 26, and she was dating this 50-year-old dude. And then she would complain to me, and I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, you guys have nothing in common besides wanting to fuck.
Right. He's a 50-year-old dude that dates 25-year-olds. What are you expecting from him?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and I get it. It's like when these rich dudes, they're 60 and they're dating some 20-year-old with a body on her like a porn star. And everyone's like, she's just fucking him for the money. And he's just fucking her because she's 20. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. And good for both of them. Why do I fucking care? She's getting what she wants. He's getting what he wants. And, like Doug said, they're both consenting. Fuck off. It's none of your business. Like the 90-year-olds that are fucking around with a 20-year-old bombshell. Well, she's just doing it for the money. And you think he doesn't know that? The man's worth billions. He's a smart guy. He knows.
No, but she loves me. No,
right, exactly.
That's one thing you're never going to hear come out of that fucker's mouth.
No, he's thinking to himself, I'm 90 years old, getting my fucking noodle wet with this 25-year-old porn star. Again, good for him. His kids are still getting money, and that's what always kills me is when the kids come out. They're like, she's just taking him for the money. And really, what are you doing? So it doesn't look like you guys have a fantastic fucking family unit to begin with. But it's you're going to get what you get. There was a TikTok going around, and you're supposed to. It's like for when you're in what do they call it? A November or December relationship, or one's older than the other one, and you're supposed to call out how old you are. And this little chick gets on there and she's like, I'm 21. And the dude's like, I'm 61. That was the one I was trying to show you guys, where the comedian comes on. He goes, all right there, Uncle Touchy. And Uncle Touchy just fucking cracked me the fuck up. Is that healthy? Probably not. She's probably got some fucking dad issues or something, but whatever. Again, that's
grandpa issues.
Grandpa issues. Yeah. But, again, she's old enough that whatever, if she's getting off with a 60-year-old dude, then good for her, whatever. I don't care. But I did think that Uncle Touchy was funny. So, yeah, but yeah, like I said, little 11-year-old girl, dude, and she looked fucking 11. You're just a sick fuck. If you're 30 years old, dude, really, if you're any age and you're trying to bang a fucking 11-year-old girl, I'm sorry, you're fucked up. Like, I don't care. I don't care if you're 15
unless you're
or 16.
an 11-year-old boy.
I mean, and then you're still fucked up because you've got some sort of testosterone issue at that point. I was not trying to fuck at 11.
I was already jerking off by then. So
yeah, I was jerking off at like 10, but I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm just saying, if I was 11, a girl was 11, and knowing that I was, active in a different sense at that age, I'm just saying, if I was an 11-year-old boy and the right 11-year-old girl so much as touched it and said the right thing, it would have happened.
Walked by it, like, Yeah, and I mean, at least then it's not as fucking nasty,
Yeah, I mean, like if I was 11 and an 11-year-old girl told me she wanted to take my penis for a test drive, I'm not going to tell her she's too young.
Well, no, probably not, because you're both 11 at that point. So, but I don't know. That's still weird to me. But, that's, I grew up in a Catholic household, and sex was fucking condemned and horrible and terrible and etc.
Unless you go to church and then
it was okay. Or if you do it in the church.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I knew where you were going. Yeah. I knew where you were going. Speaking,
we're only going to allow this if the priest and the choir boys are at Sunday service. Okay?
There you go. You just couldn't help yourself, could you?
I couldn't. It was right there.
Yeah.
You lobbed it up.
I'm going to lob it, all right.
Oh, yeah.
This podcast causes people to need therapy. So, which I am a...
all two of them.
Oh, yeah, right. I am a fan of therapy myself. I'm in therapy. Been doing EMDR, or as I like to call it, churning the fucking dirt, because that shit brings stuff up from a long time ago and connects dots that are fucking weird. And every time I leave after a fucking session, I'm just not right for about 24 hours. Excuse me.
24 hours.
Well, less right than usual.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, my fucking head's in a weird place after that. But it's cool, man. It's been cool. And like I said, I am the thing that frustrates me about therapy is that a lot of insurances, like, either they don't cover it or you have to go through this bullshit to get it done. Like, if I need to go see a doctor because I have a tumor or something, right? I just go and they cover it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with mental health, they're like, oh, you have to call and you have to talk to this other department, and then they'll set you up and we'll give you 6 visits and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, so if I had to go see a fucking oncologist, would you tell me that I only get 6 visits a year, to my oncologist? But it just goes back to the concept and the idea that some people just don't believe in mental health the way that I think they should,
Yeah, they get that default, it's all in your head crap.
Yeah, just suck it up.
Just like cancer's all in your lung.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
It's mental health. Of course it's in your head.
Right, you're right. It is in my head. Just like those tumors are in your fucking lungs, asshole. There are people like with ADD that say, well, you just need to pay attention. You just need to try harder. You need to focus. Bruh, you ain't fucking kidding, right? But I'm not sure what you said because I just disassociated and I fucking was somewhere else. My parents, I was in my 30s before I got diagnosed with ADD. I think most people around me knew that I had it, but I didn't. And went in and I'm checking the boxes and it's like, fuck, because I'm just checking them all.
You think you're on a prank show? You're like, who the fuck? Who wrote this?
I'm sitting there talking to the psychiatrist and he's just grinning and writing shit down. And I'm like, so what do you think? And he's just kind of laughing. He just hands me a bunch of fucking scripts for Ritalin. He's like, here you go. And he's like, yeah, dude, you're all over the place. He said, you're looking around, I was like, yeah, I just thought that was normal. I'm like, whatever. But even at that, my parents were like, oh, you don't have ADD. There's no such fucking thing. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of psychiatrists and doctors and people that would disagree with you on that. And I'm one of them. And they put me on Ritalin and it helped a fucking ton. I literally wept the first time that I took Ritalin. I took it and about a half hour later, I cried, and I cried because for the first time, maybe in my life, nice. For the first time in my life, my fucking head wasn't spinning out of control in 8 million different fucking places. And I was like, huh. Yeah. So this is how normal people go about their day. Interesting. Okay.
They just focus on stuff.
Right? They can think about one thing and one thing only. That's neat. That's neat. Imagine. That's cool. Yeah.
It's a novel idea.
And people have asked me, why'd you get off the Ritalin? And again, it goes back to the way mental health and insurance and all that rides. I moved down to Florida and I lived in a place called Naples, which is a high dollar area. It's typically a wealthy neighborhood. And none of the psychiatrists down there took insurance. It was all cash. It was $300 an hour, dude.
So what kind of Illuminati fucking town is this?
Right? And the fact is it was, since it was rich, they didn't so the therapists that I'm seeing now, they don't accept insurance. They will give you a bill to give to your insurance, but my insurance doesn't work that way. They won't. It has to bill. The doctor has to bill through them. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm paying out of pocket, and it's a chunk of fucking cash. But I'm doing it. And I told my therapist, I said, therapy is a fucking privilege. It really is. I said, I said, I understand why you don't bill insurance companies. It's a pain in the dick. I've known plenty of people in the medical field, and I've known some people that do billing. And if your I's aren't dotted and your T's aren't crossed, everything has to be perfect. And then I submit it to you, and it takes you 6 months to pay me that. So whatever it is that I am owed, it's going to take me 6 months to get it. I'm constantly in arrears. I understand why some doctors. I said
You're constantly what?
in rears.
In a rear.
In a rear. So I understand why. I understand why doctors don't do it. I had this conversation with my therapist. I think I made her uncomfortable because I was just like, "You're expensive. you're fucking expensive." I said, because she wants me to do it weekly. I'm like, yeah, I bet you fucking do. Which I have been, and I'll taper it down at some point. But I told her, I said, this is a privilege and the people that need therapy the most, right? The people that are in like lower income situations that have dealt with generational trauma throughout, their family are the ones that probably could benefit from therapy the most, but they can't go get it because they can't fucking afford it. It's messed up, man.
Being broke is a pretty good trigger for anxiety.
There you go. Right? I mean, just in and of itself, exactly. Wondering if you're going to be able to pay your fucking bills.
Yeah. I don't know if it's this way in any other countries, but being broke in America costs you a lot of fucking money.
It does. I've watched those, like the breakdowns of how all that works, and it's fucking amazing. Right. How being broke, costs you more goddamn money than it should. But yeah, I would like to see mental health focused on a little bit better. And I'd like to see it be a little less complicated to bill insurance and things like that, but I don't know. I'm not I can't be the only person out there that sees the problem with it. But they say hurt people, and I'm hoping that healed people can heal people. I want to be a better person. That's why I go to therapy. And I hope that if I get better, I can help other people get better. But it's fucking expensive. So I feel like I could just go get my therapy license and be like, all right, I'm a therapist now, so I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine. Dude, all
that
the people
would require you to read books.
Yeah. That's
back to that ADD thing.
Exactly. Right. Anytime I tell someone, yeah, I've read that, if it's been in the last 5 years, 10 years, that means I've listened to it. For some reason, I can do audiobooks. And even then, there are days where I've taken my earbuds out and been like, I have no idea what that last chapter was. Just none whatsoever.
I do that when I'm physically reading. Like I'll be reading with my eyes, but it's just all like leaking out of my ears.
Yeah.
Yep. That's me.
So everything I read, I have to read it like 4 times.
Yep. And that's people. I've been encouraged to go back to school for different things. And I'm like, no. And but you got it. And I'm like, no, I don't disagree with you. I would love to go back to school for a few things. I'm working on my ham radio license right now, and I'm only going for the very basic one because I know me. It's going to take me forever for that exact same fucking reason. Now, I'm pretty good with RF propagation and things like that, so I'm hoping that helps. But trying to get certificates and things like that is a fucking nightmare for me because of what you just said. Reading and then going, what did I just read? And it's not that I'm dumb or can't comprehend. It's just one part of my brain is reading it while another part of my brain is wondering how squirrels get all those fucking nuts buried. I don't know, You're
trying to bury your nuts?
I'm trying to bury my nuts in arrears.
Modern society has made this worse, but people with ADD especially have a, it getting sort of at the root of it goes to kind of a dopamine issue, to where, when you're doing social media, when you're looking at YouTube, when you're watching TikTok, whatever else, there's an anticipation there that you may discover something that's pretty cool. Occasionally,
Mm-hmm.
you discover something that's pretty cool. You get that dopamine reward. Meanwhile,
Meanwhile,
if you read a book that doesn't have,
right.
an immediate reward or something else involved in it, it is a low dopamine activity, and it's your mind is constantly fighting against it. No, let's not do this. Let's go do fun shit.
Right. Let's go do
Let's
something else.
and I struggle with that myself. But it's that whole risk reward system, and in a modern society that we have now, where you've got this device that's fighting for your attention, that's in your back
Mm-hmm.
pocket or in your hand or wherever. It's really hard to escape that,
Very.
and I'm not that I'm sitting here and I'm the old guy screaming shit was better in the old days, but I do believe that the society that we're bringing up now is going to run into some interesting problems because of that.
I would agree. And, based on TikTok, right? I just recently got on TikTok about a month ago. A friend of mine kind of encouraged me to do it. And I really enjoy it because of what Doug just said. Um, I have ADD. And so these little 30-second to 3-minute pops, and a lot of times, like, I skip through all the duets and the stitching, all the lip syncing. I think that's all bullshit. Like, it's, oh, good for you. You lip synced something, from someone else. It's fucking dumb, dude. Move on. Like, that's trash. But there are some really neat nuggets of information and um, cool facts and things like that. And you're absolutely right. I love that. Like, I love learning, and I love learning new things. And it's that pop, 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 as I'm going through. Um,
And you're not learning a ton about it. You're just learning enough that it's like
Neat.
instant gratification.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
you're going on to the next thing.
Yep. Like Dud said. And the thing is that TikTok is hugely popular. So there's no way that many people out there just necessarily have ADD, right? Because if so, then we aren't neurodivergent anymore. We're the fucking baseline. Um, but it could be that it's creating more ADD like people, right? Who need that dopamine pop, like Doug's saying. So you're almost creating this generation of, dopamine junkies. And yeah, it'll be curious to see in 20, 50, 100 years how that affects society in
The
general.
TikTok effect. You've been diagnosed with TikTok-itis.
TikTokitis, right?
Well, they have had the people that now that had no prior symptoms of
Mm-hmm.
Tourette's that are experiencing symptoms of Tourette's. That actually made the news. It seems to be more
Yeah.
prevalent in girls. Don't know what the fuck
Interesting.
is up with
Yeah,
that.
young girls are exhibiting Tourette's symptoms after using TikTok.
Really?
I'm sure there's another thing they're probably doing as well. Like,
Right.
I'm not sure that I believe the correlation points to causation, but
Right.
yeah, they're pointing at TikTok for it.
Huh. I wonder. But again, if you start fucking with dopamine, I mean, I guess that there could be something there.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. And Doug, you actually hyper focus. I don't, to my knowledge, I don't hyper focus.
That's why I can't do TikTok. And we've Dan and I and Adam and everybody, we've had this discussion before. And Dan's been on this TikTok kick, and we all have various forms of communication where we've had persistent chats for God knows how long. And we sit there and say, hey, what are you doing? Look at this bullshit. I found this thing, and it's like that all day long. So it's sort of like our own little microcosm social media, but it's just the three of us. So Dan was like, you should do TikTok. And I'm like, I had it for a week and I realized how dangerous it was because everyone and their brother is familiar with a YouTube rabbit hole. You log on to YouTube to find out how to fix your fucking dryer or some other bullshit like that. And then 3 hours later, we've had this discussion. You're
Yeah, you're
watching
looking to
videos
see how to
about
talk to
talking giraffes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those are YouTube rabbit holes. For me, there is no TikTok rabbit hole. By the time I come out of the other side of that rabbit hole, I'm on the other side of the planet.
And when Doug told me that, I was like, yeah, you're right. You probably
well,
should.
dude, it's like engineered to make sure you don't close it. Like,
right.
Yep.
And they make a lot of money making sure you don't close it.
Yeah, and for me, it is the bullshit or the thoughts that are on there, the chicks that are just like, oh, look at my titties, I'm like, boring. Or I'll go 3 or 4 that are those lip sync videos where they're syncing to something else, and I'll close it because that annoys the fuck out of me, because I'm actually looking for content, funny content, the old Vine stuff, that kind of thing.
I've been trying to figure out how to turn off lives.
Yeah, that's another one.
Because at night, if you get on, all it is live streams of chicks with their titties hanging out.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Pornhub is like in the other tab. I can just open that.
Right, exactly. I can go jerk off to Pornhub
I'm on
free
TikTok
and be done.
for other stuff, not this.
Yeah. I actually look for decent content, real content. That's what I want to see, is real content, and I do pretty well on TikTok myself. I do a lot of Jeep-centric stuff, and I do pretty well. And a buddy of mine that's on there was asking, he's like, man, you're doing pretty good. I said, well, this platform is like perfect for me. It's these little 1-minute blurbs, that's neat. And then I just put it up there. I said, it works pretty well for me. I can't do long form videos. I don't have the editing skills. I don't have the concentration myself. Like I said, I don't hyper focus, because there's ADD and there's ADHD, right? And I would classify Doug probably more as ADHD, because when he does spin up, he's spun up, like you can see it, and there is a certain hyperactivity.
Yeah, he starts turning around in circles.
He does. He blue screens and he turns in circles.
Yeah. You can see it.
I'm more ADD. I don't typically do the hyperactive thing, and I kind of wonder if that's where the hyper focus comes from. I don't know really, and I've read up on it, and I don't think they, being doctors and shit, have a fucking clue really.
Well, if you had to ask me from personal experience, once I started looking into dopamine and dopamine releasing activities, when I find something that I'm really interested in, the best thing that I can liken it to is when you meet a person that you're dating and you're in that initial phase where you're learning things about each other. And everything's all rosy and perfect in the whole 9 yards. And it all breaks down to, I like pizza, you like pizza, I like this thing, you like that thing, I like to fuck, you like to fuck. We're made for each other. And when I start off in something like that and my hyper focus engages, that's because I am getting that dopamine hit by learning about that thing that I wanted to learn something about, if it's something that I'm interested in. It's very rarely anything that's terribly useful.
If
it's terribly useful, if it's terribly useful, it sort of goes by the wayside. But if it really has nothing to do with anything and it's just something to feed my brain and it's a dopamine hit at the same time, I'll find out every fucking thing about it.
It's the joke that we used to have was, if you ask Doug what time it is, he'll tell you how to build a watch. So, because he knows, because he researched it, and he can tell you about obscure Belgian fucking watchmakers and shit.
So, I have a business idea.
Okay.
Are you guys ready? Are you going to get in on this on the ground floor?
I'm fucking, checkbook is open.
So, ADHD textbooks, where every 2 or 3 pages is just a giant full page picture of tits to keep you engaged.
Oh, I've had this literally, Adam. I've had this idea for years.
It would work.
Well, and it will allow me to elaborate. All you would
Spouse.
have to do is take a standard something technical, networking course, Linux course, whatever. And all you would have to do is integrate a porn based reward system into it. Because, most of the people that I'm aware of that, no. But most of the people that I'm aware of that, anytime a new technology came out, all they had to do was put tits on it. If you put tits on that new technology, there would be guys lining up to learn, oh, so I need to do this series of commands to see these tits. If you put tits on the other side
Yeah.
of something, you're more apt to learn it. So it's like, while I don't have the technical skill set myself, all that would have to be done by someone who is knowledgeable would be to build a training course with porn rewards in there somewhere.
Porn rewards.
Yeah, you turn in your points for porn. Porn
Well,
reward program.
And on the flip side of that, I've read before that the porn industry has actually cultivated and driven technology innovations through the years. The internet being one of them. Once porn realized, holy shit, we've got this pipeline going straight into people's homes. They started to push a lot of technology that other platforms use today. Like streaming. If you think about it, right? Porn was streaming before Netflix was. And VHS and beta, there's a lot of discussion that VHS survived because the porn industry
Chose
it and shit like that, So yeah, titties they make the world go round. I mean, everybody likes them. Men, women, gay men, straight women, doesn't matter. Boobs.
Have you ever seen the movie Middlemen?
No, but I know I've seen the ads for it. Like I wanted to watch it because it's based on that, isn't it? Or it's like a
Yeah,
story of how they.
It's like the invention of internet porn. Like these guys are on like BBSs and shit, and they realize that like there's no porn on it yet.
Yeah.
So they start scanning in like Playboys and selling access to their BBS.
Yeah, I actually wanted to see that because it's based on a true story, isn't it?
Yeah, and then they got out of that business because it was basically piracy, and they got into the discrete billing business.
Yep,
nice.
They were the first ones to figure out how to use a credit card online.
Gotcha. Jesus, dude. I mean, yeah, fucking food. It's like we're just animals looking for pretty basic things in life. Everything else,
eat, sleep, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's.
Well,
Lord knows that's my goal these days.
Yeah, at some point in the movie, they pull a check out of a drawer that's like some ridiculous amount. I don't remember how much it was. And like one of the guys was saying something, don't you guys realize that this is a blah, blah, blah check, but they were making so much money hand over fist that literally was not a big deal.
Mm. That's insane. I remember doing it. Well, no, I working with a guy that he was doing a job at a house, and it turned out to be one of those cam girl houses, and it was in a normal neighborhood, and but all the bedrooms, the living room, the dining room, everything was set up for cam girls. And he was talking to the guy and the girls that were there, and like the girls would roll up in Mercedes. Like you would never know because this house was just, there's just always Mercedes and shit. So these women would drive there. So, they had a home somewhere that was perfectly normal, and they would drive to this house, They'd go in and do the cam girl thing, but they were rolling in Mercedes, and the guy that was running it was fucking had like 5 or 6 of these houses around the city. And you think about that for a minute, right? All these girls are doing is, they're masturbating, they're playing with themselves. Some of them don't even do that. They just talk shit. And dudes are just throwing fucking money at them. And I am a big proponent of the sex work industry. I think it should be legalized. It's a woman's body. She can do whatever the fuck she wants with it. And if you legalized it, people are like, oh, there's all this bad shit that happens. Yeah, right, because it's illegal. And so, you legalize it, you regulate it, and you can
Well,
Make it
once you
safe.
once you pull things out of the shadows.
right.
Well,
I mean, look at
Colorado's the perfect example.
right.
Literally, it's like there are, several shops within 10 miles of where I'm at. I walk up, I pull out my identification. I can go in there and buy any damn thing I want. I didn't have to meet somebody in a shady parking lot, wonder if I was going to get fucking shot or any of the above. It's all above board, and it being legalized made it safer.
Well, and prostitution in Nevada, right? The Bunny Ranch and all that. They they
So
test
dangerous. So
they
dangerous
they
now.
test the girls, there's security there, etc. So right, same thing. You're not meeting somebody in the back alley somewhere um, to get something done. Legalizing a lot of that stuff again takes some of the danger out of it. But
Yeah.
people that it's like, well, if we make it legal, then everyone's going to do it, and it's going to be this big scourge. And I don't think that that's necessarily. Um, I don't think that's necessarily true.
I mean, people are already doing it, right? So you're not going to make it more dangerous by legalizing it. If
Right.
anything,
And-
it's going to stay the same amount of dangerous.
Right. And I know, in Colorado with legalization, it hasn't turned every teenager and person into a fucking, shaggy Scooby Doo stoner, for fuck's sake. It's it, it sometimes legalizing things actually takes that taboo away from it, and they're like, it's legal now. Fuck it.
I've
Let's go eat
noticed,
Tide Pods.
yeah, like some younger people don't really want to do it now because it's not like hood rat shit anymore. It's like
Right.
regular
Right.
people shit now.
It's become bougie, So, and that's exactly right. It doesn't hold that that mystique like it did. So, no, I'm like I said, I've always been a proponent of sex work. I think if a woman can go on OnlyFans, look, if a stay-at-home mom with a couple of kids, in the evenings can go up into her bedroom and take some pictures or videos and post them online and make fucking $80,000-$90,000 a year,
Yeah,
good for her, right? And
I
keeps
would.
them.
If people wanted to see me naked, I'd do
Thank you. I'd be slinging this shit everywhere. Like, hey,
it.
check it out. That'll be $29.95. Fucking onlydans.com. I actually own that, by the way. I need to. I have a couple websites I need to go and renew. Actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, so there you have it.
That's it.
That's it.
There ain't nothing else to it.
Ain't nothing else. Nothing. Yeah. All right.